Hello everyone, Jameson, Alex here. Another Urge video. We're going to step into the realm of Unearthed Arcana with one of the newer releases, the Folk of the Feywild, which is going to give us 4 new playable race options to kind of discuss and go through. They are Fairy, Hobgoblin of the Feywild, Owlfolk, and Rabbitfolk. So we're going to kind of give a quick rundown as to what they are, and then kind of give some quick, opinions, thoughts on thereof.
Yes, and I will pin a link to this PDF as well, so you guys can go straight to it.
You know, we're not crazy with coming up with these ideas.
Yes.
Like, we didn't make up Rabbitfolk all on our own.
Yes, exactly. New giveaway.
The D&D Beyond Players Bundle.
Tons of character options.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and comment down below on the video so you're entered to win a great giveaway coming from us very soon.
So, first up is we have the Fairy. And of course, Feywild is home to many fantastical creatures.
Yes, of course they are.
So with the fairies,
right,
they have a Fey characteristics table that you can roll on or choose whichever one you want, depending on how you want to put your character.
Personal preference.
So you have things like, you have small wings like an insect, shimmering multicolored skin.
Oh, for sure.
You have exceptionally large ears, because why not? Things like that. Your hands never look dirty.
I
so
like 7.
Imagine
you smell like fresh brownies.
There you go.
Yes.
That's a good one. But just like you jump into like a mud pit and like there's mud all over and all of your body except for your hands. Your hands are clean.
It's like, ha-ha!
So, fairy traits. Creature type, you are a Fey.
Which is interesting.
That can have implications in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
You are small size, but your walking speed is 30 feet. Usually with the small size,
it's 25 feet.
Shorter walking speed. Yep. So they're like nimble, I guess. And here we go is the kicker here. You fairy flight, you have flying speed equal to your walking speed and can hover. Flight is magical and does not require you to use your wings if you have them. And then fairy magic. You know the Druidcraft and fairy fire spells. You can cast fairy fire without expending a spell slot and must finish a long rest before you can cast it again. You can also cast a spell using any spell slots you have. Spellcasting ability is your choice of intelligence, wisdom, or charisma.
Which is nice.
Very interesting. And then Fey passage. You can squeeze through a space as narrow as 1 inch wide. Okay, so couple thoughts on this one.
Discussion time. Elephant in the room first?
Yeah, the fly speed is kind of crazy.
That's the elephant in the room there.
So,
for sure.
I mean, there are other races that have fly speed. Some people don't make a big deal out of it, but getting fly at level 1, to me, as DM, is like, okay, all right.
All right.
First of all, it can be a lot easier for them to solve certain terrain puzzles and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Just almost immediately moot, especially at lower levels, because they don't have like spells like Dimension Door, Misty Step, stuff like that.
Yep.
Or they don't have the spell slots to be able to just like use them so willingly. So fly speed can definitely have some interesting implications tied to it.
Especially the hover thing. Yeah. I think that's an underrated part of that, because you can end your turn not on the ground. Right. And there's the whole getting around difficult terrain in combat. Even if you can just move across it straight, because if you're not standing on it, you're not in the difficult terrain. Right. If it's like spikes on the ground, like you can just hover above it and just sit there.
Yeah, and I think this is actually quite interesting to be going over this now.
Right.
Because in our campaign currently, they are in the Feywild.
Right.
Throw them into the Feywild for all kinds of reasons.
So much hallucinatory terrain.
And even that kind of stuff has happened already multiple times with, like, some of the characters can fly and stuff, or hover, and if you have spells that enemies can cast where it creates difficult terrain, stuff like that, they're just like, oh, well, I just fly over it. So kind of...
we do have a druid and another character that knows the fly spell, so there's...
Yes, and magic flying boots. Don't let rogues have fun.
That was your fault.
That was a random roll, okay? He's lucky, it happens.
Our rogue is lucky, it's true.
Also, I'm not sure where they get the Fey passage thing. Seems a little strange to me.
Yeah.
I usually correlate that more with like oozes and things like that.
Yeah.
And it does say you can squeeze through space, so you can't just like
pass through
go into the ground and stay there. It says you have to pass through it, to squeeze through it.
So I'm thinking like half movement to get through a very tight space. I would think by squeeze.
Right. I would assume it relates to the rules for squeezing through spaces like that. So definitely interesting.
And the other thing, the cool creature, that too. The creature type thing with Fey, because there are certain spells that if they're a Fey, they're immune to, resistance to, more likely that can only be affected if they're not humanoid, kind of thing.
Exactly.
So that it does create some additional interesting things both for you as a player and for your DM to kind of interact with being not a humanoid creature, as far as what a player character is.
Right. Exactly. So definitely can come into play here. And it does specify, too, in the rules, especially with the Gothic lineages side, because the lineages thing is a little bit different. These are, like, actually races.
Right.
Whereas the lineages of the Gothic, the last Unearthed Arcana that will be officially maybe updated, maybe kept the same, we'll see soon.
Yeah.
In the new Ravenloft book. But when it comes to these, it's possible, at least with the lineages, to have multiple creature types where that can actually be more detrimental than if you just have one. Like, if you're just Fey, that's one thing. But if you're Fey and humanoid, then you're affected by both.
Yeah.
It's like double traits.
Very interesting, to say the least.
It's like the Pokemon.
Dual types thing.
Because instead of, like, them counteracting, it's like you're vulnerable to both.
Yeah.
Instead of...
You get both buffs and both bads.
Yes, exactly.
On to number 2 with the Hobgoblin of the Feywild. Humanoid creature type, so that's that no change.
Pretty normal.
Yeah, medium walking speed of 30 feet. You have dark vision within 60 feet, as you know, dark vision goes. Fey ancestry though gives you advantage on saving throws to avoid or end the charmed condition on yourself. Fey gift, you can use this trait to take the help action as a bonus action. And you can do so a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Regain all uses when you get a long rest. Starting at 3rd level, choose one of the options below each time you take a help action, whether it's a bonus action or an action. This is where it gets kind of interesting. Hospitality, you and the target of your help action each gain a number of temporary hit points equal to 1d6 plus your proficiency bonus. That's fun. Passage, you and the target of your help action each increase your walking speeds by 10 feet to start your next turn. Also be helpful either chasing somebody down or closing a gap for a melee person in combat. And finally, you have Spite until the start of your next turn. The first time you or the target of your help action hits a creature with an attack roll, that creature has disadvantage on the next attack roll that it makes within the next minute. That's fun.
It's pretty.
I like that.
As if giving advantage wasn't enough.
Right.
It's like, here's that and these other things.
If we ever play a Fey-based campaign, my vote's going to be right here. And finally, you have Fortune from the Mini. If you miss an attack roll or fail an ability check or saving throw, you can draw on your bonds of reciprocity to gain a bonus to the roll equal to the number of allies you can see within 30 feet, a maximum of 5. You can use this trait a number of times to get a proficiency bonus, can all expended use when you finish a long rest. So, just straight up just choose, like, you're not getting an extra D4 or re-rolling something. It's just I got 3 friends, like, right there. I'm just going to go ahead and add 3 to that attack roll. Beep. But it does specify only when you miss, so you can't, like, you know, do extra things there. But it is helping you miss on it, you know, helping you hit a missed attack or get it a failed ability check, or most importantly, I think the big thing is going to be that saving throw. Especially helping you out with a stat you're not great at, like intelligence saving throw maybe, if you're a martial class, a charisma thing, obviously not paladins, but you know what I mean. Yeah. I think that's where that ratio is going to be very, very nice.
Yes, and I think this could actually suit, just first off the top of my head, that would really fit with this kind of thing would be something like a paladin, because you have your aura, so you're already going to be trying to keep as many people in that aura as possible, especially at higher levels. So you're going to have multiple ways to gain some
Oath of the Ancients, Hobgoblin of the Feywild.
Oh.
Yes!
Yeah,
I foresee that.
One thing that is kind of funny that we didn't mention is that the fairies don't get dark vision.
Right.
It's kind of hilarious to me, but it is.
Well, they can fly.
That's the price for being
the
able to fly.
You're right, yeah.
But still, I feel like this is a little over the top a little bit, too. I mean, it gets like the Fey ancestry, kind of like elves.
Yeah.
But then the gift, the being able to help as a bonus action.
And it's buffed.
It's buffed. Like,
but it's limited number of times per day, though.
That is true. That is true.
But that's going to cap at 6.
All I think, whenever I think of is whenever you're giving someone advantage, in my book, you're just instantly rogue best friend, because you can give them advantage, which means they're going to get sneak attack
automatically,
and then you can increase your walk speed, or give them some
temp hit points,
or
let them not get hit because you're causing disadvantage.
So it seems a little interesting to me. And then the next one is the Owlfolk. You are a humanoid.
Which is interesting. I don't know how in the world you come out as humanoid and Owlfolk.
Yes, it'd be interesting if you were like monstrosity or something like really weird.
That's kind of what I thought it might be.
Medium or small. Choose the size when you gain this race. 30-foot walking speed. You have dark vision for 90 feet, so a little bit further than normal. For most races, at least, outside of your like Durgar and Drow and things like that.
Yep.
Magic sight, keen senses, focus on the presence of magic. You can gain the ability to cast the detect magic spell, but as a ritual only. Your spellcasting ability is your choice of intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. You can also cast the spell normally with any spell slots you have. nimble flight. Thanks to your wings, you have flying speed equal to your walk speed. When you fall, you can use your reaction to make a dexterity saving throw of 10 DC to stop falling and fly in place until the start of your next turn. I immediately just think of Moonkin Foreman.
Flap.
With a flap.
Yeah.
But
it's great. I love it.
But you also, why not? You have fly speed. You're given 2 races.
But this one you can't hover.
Correct.
So you have to fly to a spot and stop. Fly to stop.
Right.
Fly to stop.
Silent feathers. You have proficiency in the stealth skill, which is a little strange to me.
That one feels a little out of place.
Because they're owls, because they're at nighttime, like night owls, owl folk. You're not an owl bear folk. You're an owl folk. Like you are an owl.
You're a boomy. You're a boomkin.
Yeah.
100%.
So, definitely interesting. I guess they're just saying, you know what? Everyone can fly. Forget the fly spell. Forget boots of flying. Forget all that. You don't need that. You just
Stormborn, Tempest Clerics.
You can fly. Yeah. Your capstone ability, worthless. Who needs that? Anyways.
Draconic Bloodline Sorcerers.
Who needs that? Whatever.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. I feel like you're not really getting a whole lot in this one, though. So, it is what it is.
Yeah. This one definitely feels...
Compared to
the first two, feels a little lackluster in terms of the amount of stuff they're giving you.
Yeah, even the fairies can cast Druidcraft and Fairy Fire. This, you just get detect magic. Yeah. You don't get like...
The Hobgoblins are giving you bonus action helps that are buffed.
Right.
They're barding it up with buffs to help action.
Yes.
And finally, we have the Rabbitfolk, which somehow also manages to be humanoid. Like, how are the fairy the only one of these that actually ends up being Fey?
Yeah, it's like, they should have made like Beast or something. But then I guess spells like Dominate Beast and stuff would just be absolutely brutal against you.
Well, I mean... Dominate Beast. I think
it's a lower
monster.
level. Yeah,
it's lower level. Yeah, fair enough. But make it Fey. Make them all Fey. They're from the Feywild, but whatever. Anyway, you are size medium or small. You choose. You've got to be a big old rabbit, because why not? Walking speed of 30 feet. You add your proficiency bonus to your initiative rolls, because it's called Hair Trigger, because Hair Trigger. That's well done.
Got it.
And then Leoprine Senses, or Leporine Senses. Ooh, that's the fact that was Leoprine. Woo.
Got there.
They're making words up.
Yeah.
You have proficiency in the perception skill. You're animal, fair. Lucky footwork, great, rabbit's foot thing. And you feel a dexterity saving throw, you can use a reaction roll a d4, add to the result, potentially turning it into a failure into a success. 30-second timeout.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I guess I saw your reaction to exactly what you were talking about. So somebody else, a different race,
could just add.
Could just straight up add a number, flat rate, which can be higher than a d4, and they know how much it's going to be. It's not randomized.
Right. But they have limited use as proficiency bonus.
Right, where this is
as much as you want.
Just use your reaction to add a d4 to it. So I was like,
but it's only dexterity versus any saving throw as well.
Or attack roll or ability check.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And finally, you have Rabbit Hop. Once during each of your turns, when you walk at least 5 feet, you may hop, rolling a d12 and moving that many feet in direction of your choice. This extra distance doesn't cost movement, but you can only hop if your speed isn't 0.
Yeah.
So basically, you can move at speed of 30 plus a turn.
Yeah, 30 plus d12.
30 d12 a turn. 30 plus 1 d12. Yeah, not 30 d12. That'd be wild. Anyway, so again, I feel like all 4 of these, the top 2 are a bit wild.
Yes.
And then these 2 are a little bit more on the
reasonable side.
Reasonable to even, maybe reasonable is probably right. It just, they seem a little lackluster when you look at the 2 that are on the first 2 page.
Right. I feel like even if you're going to give something fly speed, maybe their walking speed should be lower or something. Mm-hmm. Not that, but then it's just like they would never fly unless, or they would never walk unless they had to. Yeah. But then if they can hover, it doesn't matter. So, I don't know. It's just fly speed. I mean, if you know your characters are going to have it in your DM, you can kind of plan accordingly. But if they kind of just show up to the first session, you're like, I can, and all of them are like, I'm an Aarakocra, I'm a fairy, I'm an Owlfolk, and all of them, like your whole party can fly. You're just like,
at level 1.
Oh, how am I gonna design some encounters and stuff, because they could make things very difficult against certain creatures that either don't have.
You got to come across a lot of stormy weather.
Right.
A lot of wind that might be able to push them back, and
something. You gotta be a little bit. My point just being, you have to be a little bit more creative.
Yes.
To handle those kind of things, because they can really just make a lot of points very moot. Like,
Or make them
again.
fight in the basement. We don't have any
Exactly.
space to move around.
That's what you can. I mean, yes, you move them indoors, and then the fly speed becomes pretty much moot. It's like it's a 10-foot ceiling.
Yeah.
The flying doesn't really matter.
Nope.
Especially if they can't hover. If they can hover, it's a little bit different story because of the difficult terrain or traps on the floor.
Yeah.
They can just hover over them. But yes, definitely interesting. Looking at the 4 of them, my prediction, whenever these are made official, because usually UA things become official, not always. I can see the Owlfolk and Rabbitfolk basically being unchanged.
Yep.
I'm not sure.
Except for changing out the stealth skill proficiency to something else. That
maybe
just
it's
seems
like advantage with stealth rolls.
It just seems so
something.
out of place that the big owl can. Of course, it says you can be small or medium.
Yeah, I mean, you could literally be like a little owl.
Yeah.
You know, because you're an owl.
Because to me, like I would make
A night
perception,
owl.
like proficiency and perception would make more sense. You know,
Yeah.
big O eyes right,
Right,
here
right,
at
sure,
nighttime,
sure.
like it makes more sense to me. But that's just thinking of like actual owls and real world.
It is what it is. I feel like the one I could see the fairy making it through because it doesn't have dark vision. It's got some stuff on there. The fairy fire, I mean, it's whatever.
It's once a day. Tieflings can do Hellish Rebuke.
Right.
So there are definitely some other races that can cast a spell one off.
Yeah, well, they can use a spell slot.
That Hobgoblin Feygift though.
Yeah, the Hobgoblin seems a little ridiculous to me.
And the fortune from the many again, both are limited uses, but like holy cow.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments down below. Do you think any of these are going to retain their original vision from Unearthed Arcana? Do you think they're going to be changed? If they are,
Yeah.
what do you think they're going to change?
Take
to
away,
bring them
add,
back?
modify.
Right. I guess now they're trying to make it where races and stuff are more flexible. So,
Yeah.
with the flying thing, it is what it is, I guess. So, guys, let us know down below your thoughts on the Unearthed Arcana for these Fey folk creatures. And,
But really only one of them's a Fey folk.
yeah, a little interesting. But that's going to be all for today, guys. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like, subscribe, hit the bell notifications so our new videos are coming out. Stay tuned. We got lots of stuff coming for you guys. And as always, thank you so much.